Monday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Trump asked about, the political fantasy leagues that are set up when something like what happened with McCarthy happens. Who's going to be the next speaker? I like this guy. You like that guy. Let's think out of the box. How about Trump? Trump addressed that prospect about him being selected speaker because, of course, you don't need to be a member of Congress to be installed as speaker. He did that before entering a New York City courtroom for day 3 of his civil trial. And he said this.
A lot of people have been calling me about speaker. All I can say is we'll do whatever's best for the country and for the Republican Party. We have some great people. We have some great people.
Would you take the job?
A lot of people have asked me about it. I'm focused. We're leading. I don't know you. I'm sure you don't read too much in the papers, but we're leading by like 50 points for president. My focus is totally on that. If I can help them during the process, I would do it. But we have some great people in the Republican Party that could do a great job as speaker.
Yeah, that's a no. That's a no. So
a hard no or a possible?
That's a no. It's just let's stop being silly. It's not going to be Trump. It's going to be a member of the House Republican Caucus. It makes no sense for Trump to even, just from Trump's perspective, it makes no sense for him to consider it while he's running for president and leading the field, lapping the field, really, for the Republican nomination. I mean, it's just grist for the mill. It's, fodder for the chattering classes. But it's going to be Jim Jordan or Steve Scalise, maybe Byron Donalds, but I guess Jordan or Scalise. That'd be my guess. But it's not going to be Trump. Trump also took the time after day 3 of the civil trial in New York City, this absurd trial.
So stupid.
And he had sort of an injustice for all moment in describing what's going on in the courtroom and, again, providing the context rather than worrying about the details of this silly case. He focused on the essentially political and electoral play that the forces of the left are making here with frivolous cases like this.
Today, if you read the New York Law Journal, they basically say they have no case against Trump. But I'm here, stuck here, and I can't campaign. I'd rather be right now in Iowa. I'd rather be in New Hampshire or South Carolina or Ohio or a lot of other places, but I'm stuck here because I have a corrupt attorney general that communicates with the DOJ in Washington to keep me nice and busy because I'm leading Biden in the polls by a lot. That's all this is. This is election interference. They made up a fake case. They're fraudulent people. And the judge already knows what he's going to do. He's a Democrat judge. In all fairness to him, he has no choice. He has no choice. He's run by the Democrats. I know this city better than anybody knows this city. There's nobody knows it like I do. He's a Democrat judge out of the clubhouses. He's controlled, and it's a shame. What's going on here is a shame. Our whole system is corrupt. This is corrupt. Atlanta is corrupt. And what's coming out of D.C. is corrupt. But this is a good one because this one is interesting. This one is very interesting. Why attend? Because I want to point it out to the press how corrupt it is, because nobody else seems to be able to do it. New York Law Journal today did a very good job.
Yeah, he should be there to do exactly what he's doing, point out the corruption of it. This is when people say, what is lawfare? This is an example of lawfare. This is harassment by litigation, harassment by legal complaint. The punishment is the litigation, regardless of outcome. By the way, after that, he had a little bit more.
You're out of order. You're out of order. The whole trial is out of order. They're out of order! You son of a bitch, you! You're supposed to stand for something! You're supposed to protect people!
I tell you, Trump does a great Pacino.
He does.
Yeah.
And for lunch, by the way, he went and bought a bunch of burgers and fries from where? Other than McDonald's, and gave them a lot of business, and they were happy to have it. Just in case you were wondering.
For more on all this, not lunch, but the other topics, Jim Banks, U.S. Representative for Indiana's 3rd. He's running for the Republican nomination for U.S. Senate to replace the retiring Mike Braun, who is running for governor of Indiana, as Hoosiers know. And we in Illinois know, too. Representative Banks, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Good to be with you.
So on the speakership, you tweeted out who you think should be the next speaker, and who is that?
Well, I don't think we can afford to keep doing what we've been doing. Don't elevate all of the same people that have been a part of the train wreck of the past 9 months. We need to try something different. We need a new face, a new leader, a bold conservative, and that choice is obvious to me. That's got to be Jim Jordan from Ohio. He's been a fighter for a long time on the conservative issues. Whenever there's a fight in the Congress, he's not just in the middle of it. He's leading those fights. He's a great communicator. He can rally Republicans and unite us moving forward to defeat the radical left. That's why he has my full support. There are other good people who are out there, but the Democrats aren't afraid of them. They fear Jim Jordan because they know he's effective. They know he's strong. They know he doesn't back down. He's the obvious choice to me.
Well, on his heels is Stephen Scalise. I mean, he reached out in a lengthy letter to colleagues. I don't know if you received it, but just touting, his pitch for unity and his work as number 2 House Republican. Quote, my leadership style I've displayed as your majority leader and whip. I have a proven track record of bringing together the diverse array of viewpoints within our conference to build consensus whether others thought it impossible. Does that move you at all, the letter that he sent?
Look, I really like him. I respect him. He's been the number 2 guy, the number 3 guy for a long time. I just think we have to do something different. I mean, this is what's happened at this point is embarrassing for our Congress. It's embarrassing for the Republican Party. We need a new, bold leader, a new face leading us forward, who understands what time it is, who knows what is at stake. Our country, the radical left is destroying our country, and we have to fight back, and we need a fighter to do that. That's why I think Jim Jordan, he's chairman of the Judiciary Committee, he's leading our oversight efforts to hold Joe Biden and the Biden family, the Biden administration accountable, providing oversight of the administration. He was the leader of the largest conservative caucus, the Republican Study Committee that I chaired last term, the founder of the Freedom Caucus. He's got a big heart. He's a great communicator, and he's the strong leader that we need in a time like this. So I'm really glad he's running. I didn't know if he was going to run or not, but he announced yesterday morning that he is indeed running, and he's building a lot of support from all corners of the Republican conference, and I'm going to do everything I can to help him win.
Well, that would be certainly a nice way to salvage what otherwise has been a bit ugly. I just wonder what your comment is. I think Jim Jordan is probably more generally talented than Kevin McCarthy, but Kevin McCarthy wasn't without his talents, and I actually, even though I had relatively low expectations for him, I think he actually did a pretty good job in the context of the power distribution inside the Beltway. And so how did you view the 8 Republicans who have provided this pathway to a Jim Jordan, shall we say?
Yeah, I voted against the CR last weekend that triggered Matt Gaetz calling for the motion to vacate, and I'm frustrated with it too. I mean, we can't keep spending at Biden, Pelosi, Chuck Schumer level spending that has us at a $2 trillion deficit, $33 trillion national debt. Today we pay more to pay down the interest of our debt than we invest overall on the budget for the whole Pentagon to keep our country safe and secure. So we're at a crisis point, but I'm also realistic about it. This is important to recognize. We have a 5-seat Republican majority, and we had one guy from Utah who quit, so now we're down to a 4-seat majority. And at any given point in the nursing home that is the United States Congress, you have some of these old-time members who don't show up or can't show up or aren't able to physically get to the floor. So that 4-seat majority dwindles at any given point. The Democrats have the Senate. They own the White House. We have to be realistic about our expectations and set down clear goals and clear markers about securing our border, addressing inflation and addressing the energy crisis in this country, putting America first over the interest of the rest of the world. Jim Jordan is that communicator who understands how to set the stage for a fight and understand what's reasonable and what we can achieve. But at the same time, recognize the voters gave us a majority. They gave us this majority to be a check on Joe Biden and the Democrats who ran this country down the tubes over the last couple of years when they had full power of the Congress and the White House. They gave us this House Republican majority to be a check on it, to do something with it, and that's why I think we need a bold leader. Let me just say this as well. If every Democrat in the House can join 8 Republicans to take out the Republican Speaker of the House, then every Democrat in the House can join 8 other Republicans to pick a left-leaning unity-type Speaker of the House who's working with the Democrats to destroy our country rather than working against them. And that's what I fear in this moment.
Exactly.
Republicans have to unify.
Exactly. Yeah, well, which is why the Gates play, in my view, was so ill-advised, because that's exactly the downside of this sort of hastily called and thinly planned move that Gates and company made. It just, not to mention, I mean, just in terms of the distraction, Dan Henninger pointing out in the Journal, this is at a time when the UAW is withholding their endorsement from Biden, the self-proclaimed most pro-union president in U.S. history, when, according to an NBC News poll, Republicans enjoy a 21-point advantage over Democrats with respect to voters' opinions about who they favor to deal with the economy. This is the point that former Speaker Gingrich made too, and a lot of others. I mean, you have the Democrats flailing, and you essentially impose a misdirection play on yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is a low point for our party, and now we have to regroup, unify, move forward. We need a leader who can rally us to do that, and that leader, obviously, to me, is Jim Jordan.
Yeah, and one thing I want to get to too on first on the House Judiciary, if he were elevated to Speaker, you do have some talented Republicans, because people say, well, he's doing such a good job with judiciary, weaponization of government, and the whole working with Smith and working with Comer. But you have like a Mike Johnson or a Tom Massey on the Judiciary Committee too, who I think could ably take over and continue the work. Is that your view?
Yeah, absolutely. There are strong conservatives this is one thing that Jim Jordan has done really well. He's elevated other conservatives around him to take leading roles in these investigations and the oversight efforts. So I'm not worried about finding a strong person to lead the Judiciary Committee. I just think picking a Speaker of the House is really important. It's really important in a time like this that we have a strong conservative Speaker of the House, and I've been in the House of Representatives now for 7 years, and this is the one moment where Republicans have to get this right. We can't just reshuffle the deck and elevate people who have been a part of this embarrassing moment. We need to do something different. We need a new face, a new leader, and when you look across the Republican conference, to me, it's just obvious who that should be.
Well, the other thing is you're running for Senate, and I was arguing from the beginning of this argument between Gates and a few others and McCarthy. This is an opportunity for both of them, Gates and McCarthy, to sort of put their personal disagreements aside and come together and say, look, challenge the American people. We control 1/2 of 1/3 of the government, and narrowly so. We got Republicans. Don't forget, America, 20 Senate Republicans signed on to the backdoor New Green Deal program. What they call the infrastructure spend, that funny money spend, print and spend. And so you got to send us better Republicans in the Senate. And of course, then we need to expand our majority in the House, and we need to get the White House. And then we will do the things that we said we would do in terms of reining in Leviathan and reducing this 40% increase in the size of government just in the last 4 years. It's unbelievable. But it would have been such a good moment to challenge voters to reinforce what they understand to be true about sort of combine Republicans and obviously the Democrat socialists. And it seems to me with Pierre Delecto on his way out finally, and and Braun was good, but with you in the Senate too, we need some people to shake up the Senate there and these big government, big spending Senate Republicans that make the House Republican caucus's job that much more difficult.
Yeah, that's why I'm running for the United States Senate. I led the largest conservative caucus in Congress, and my frustrations, as much as they are with Democrats, are even more with the go along to get along squishy Republicans in the Senate who vote for these bills. The Republicans who voted for the fake infrastructure bill, which was the Green New Deal in disguise, as you just said, who vote for big spending bills with the Democrats to send our country over the fiscal cliff. So we need conservative fighters in the Senate, and that's why I'm running hard in Indiana to be our next conservative fighter in the Senate, and it's going well. We have a long ways to go, but we're rallying support there because at this point that's what we desperately need.
Jim Banks is currently Congressman for Indiana's 3rd, running for U.S. Senate, Republican nomination, and obviously the seat in Indiana to join Todd Young there. Todd Young needs some adult supervision too, by the way, if I may say. Jim Banks, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer